Hello, my friends. So, this is another unscripted solo. While I did take a couple of little notes, I wanted to again just go ahead and get started in the beginnings of these solo shorts that I have been doing as of recently. I wanted to rewind back in my mind at the beginning of the personal growth journey and putting this on that playlist there, that basically when I look back at my life and all of the changes that I made, was I seeking personal growth? Did I know what I was doing at that time? And all that sort of, was I processing those things at that time? And I don't know to say that I was. I don't really think I really knew what I was doing while I looked the books that I was reading. One of the first books I got into, it's called Illusions by Richard Bach. That was one of the first books I started with. And I guess it is known as a personal growth or a self-help book, but I didn't really view it like that since apparently I've always been interested in personal stories. So, but what I do know is that I knew there were things about myself that I didn't like, but I didn't know how to change them. And sometimes when I was called out on them because of my behavior, again, I still didn't really know that at that time, that I secretly, I knew there were problems with me. Um, but I don't know, speak up skills, whatever the reason is. So I wanted to give some examples along that path, just kind of to bring it up to somebody's attention. How did I get into this? How did I become aware? And just this little path there. And so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit all over the place, which is why I like to have a script. But let's just start right here by saying, okay, so I knew there were things about me that I didn't like that I wanted to change. And the example I would give is that I don't really remember the exact age, but I'm going to say teenage years with my friends. So the two friends that I had, maybe around 14, and they were new friends to each other. I had a friend the new friend who had moved from Baltimore, Maryland to Pennsylvania. She was kind of the new friend of my other friend, right? So I had one best friend, and then this one from Baltimore came, and that's a whole nother story in itself. They didn't really exactly get along, but when we were around each other, they were kind of like they were the louder ones of us three, and they seemed to have a good time. And in that time and moment, they seemed like they got along, and there was always lots of laughing and just things like that. Well, I was always very quiet and feeling like a third wheel and feeling out of place, and they were just being loud and funny and all those sorts of things. And then it would send me, I'd get really quiet and moody and all this stuff around them every time we got together, but yet I wanted us all to hang out together. So this is just a basic example that I wanted to give you, that as I became an extrovert, learned social skills, felt more confident in myself, I was actually able to keep up with conversation, and I was able to include myself in these types of situations, in this particular lately like this, and actually in classes that I go to now. So for me, just how much I ended up growing and changing, this was like almost one of the best things that could have happened to me internally, because I knew that I was being a jerk. But it's almost like I felt like I couldn't stop being like that, even if I knew that I was going to go into the situation of hanging out with them and I knew that that would happen again. It's like I literally, like, I just couldn't, I just like froze. Um, and so that is one of the best things, like I said, that could have happened to me in becoming an extrovert. So I wanted to give that example because I did it in a lot of facets of my life. Obviously, not just with them. It was socially. Maybe it was with family members or whatever it was, and for sure, of course, with strangers. So I could give a lot more examples of that, but I'm not going to do that here. And so until I developed the social skills in running my own business, um, I know that a lot of first responders, especially out there that maybe also are in the same situations, could totally benefit from these skills, and especially if you want to lead. Okay, so as far as talking about personal growth and self-help and all of that and wanting it and desiring it, especially if you don't know what's on the other side, I totally understand. I think if I had not discovered it, I would be in the same place. And the only thing that really pushed me to do this kind of on my own was opening my own business. For those of you who don't know my background in aesthetics or skincare, you rent a room out of a space like a salon or a studio with other, stylists or nail artists, technicians. And basically, what pushed me at that time, I didn't do any sales classes, is just seeing the potential there. My coworker was already doing really well, and I saw that potential. So I actually had to go up and approach people that were walking and shopping around the store if I wanted to try and make any attempts at growing a business there. So that's really where it started in terms of that part of my personal growth journey. But I had been reading books, definitely been interested in human behavior, interactions, and different things like that. I definitely did not know anything about how to resolve conflict peacefully, especially being an introvert, just usually like breaking up, stop talking to somebody. That's really how I resolved a lot of things. And then along my journey, again, if you haven't heard me speak before, going on to learning self-defense after I learned my business, that helped escalate everything, and then my verbal skills. So there are so many benefits to becoming more extroverted, and I would say in your own way, in your own style. I'm doing things and acting in ways I never thought that I would in life. Almost, I've become a performer. Like I almost feel like I could do stand up at this point. Um, so that's all that I wanted to say in this short little video, that when it comes to personal growth, it might not be something that you think you would be interested in, or you're not even thinking in that direction. But maybe, you've heard me speak, or other people speak, or you've seen, just people out there where you kind of look at them, I feel like, because I did this as well, as you look at that maybe either from the perspective of, I can't be like that, or how are they like that? I wonder if they're naturally like that. You might not have any of those thoughts, but I just wanted to give the example is that the growth, I didn't know that the growth of myself, how this all happened, I would have never imagined that I would be at this place. Um, It didn't even cross my mind, but I know how much it's enhanced my life, made me feel happier. And so that's how I can share with you and want to share with you the many benefits of being extroverted. And also, though, I love it that I still have the ability and am still introverted in some ways. If anything, it's definitely fascinating, though, to me, because also that as a result of being extroverted, sometimes I do feel like I do need the human contact to a certain level, so I can't be staying inside all of the time. Anyway, okay, so I will talk to you in the next video, and more stories to come. Okay, thanks for listening.